I don't know why my friend chose to ask me this question, nor had begged me to put my opinion on YouTube, but hey, he wanted to know. Even though I never mentioned it, never talked about it, or never even forced the issue on anybody else, but figures. I guess he decided that the random question of the day was to ask me this. Especially since he knew I watched a couple of shows based on the same subject on, on History Channel, Discovery Channel, A&E, any show that had these kind of things with the paranormal activities, I will watch because they are fun stories, and they are stories that that continues to interest me to this day. But he asked me, so I'm gonna give I'm gonna bring my own point of view on the matter, and if anything else, if I have somebody out there who has similar experiences as did I when I was growing up, living with my grandmother and in a house. So here it is. He asked me, do I believe in ghosts? I put it this way. I'm not going to say there's no such thing, nor I'm not going to say that I do believe. What I feel like there are some things that just simply cannot be explained. No matter how much we try to put words into the event that may have occurred. Deja vu is for one. Flashbacks of things that there was no way we could have been alive, but we can remember it as if it was happened yesterday. Those are things, a lot of things that we simply cannot explain. I mean, we try every time to give an explanation to a lot of stuff that happens, but in reality, there's just some things that just happens, and we don't have no words for it or no way to describe it. I will say this: there were a couple of things as I grew up that has happened to me. That if you want to call it paranormal activity, that's fine. But it was not really nothing negative to an extent. It shook me up, but it's not something that I can consider to be something that I'm gonna be like, oh my God, I was traumatized. No, but I can't deny that these are things I can never really explain. My boy over here is getting his cup of coffee. Let me go on and start off with my childhood first. I lived to live when I was growing up. I used to live with my grandmother. She owned the house, and me and my mom lived with her. We lived in the neighborhood of Dean Street, between 4th and 5th, right across from a high school, Sarah J. Howe, which is now since had changed its name. Dean Street Playground was 2 blocks away from us. We had a whole bunch of corner stores, a pizzeria, a library that was 2 blocks down. The Pacific Street train station, which was a few blocks from our house as well. So we had a pretty much respectable, close-knit area where everything was pretty much next to us. Corner stores, downtown, the Albee Square Mall. That's where I used to live at. My mom, our neighborhood was pretty much mixed, and we had a whole lot of cats in that neighborhood, and that was because of my grandmother. My grandmother had a lot of cats, and a lot of my cats were like they were breeding, and they made more cats. We had like I think 20, 30 cats in all, and most of the cats lived mostly outside. They came freely, and they live outside in the backyard, and they only came out when it was feeding time. Sometimes they wandered in the house. Because we had a lot of cats, we also had a lot of cats who died in the house. We had I think from my memory, from at least I can count, like 4 or 5 have died in the house. There was a lot of reasons for it. One of them being that the mother stopped caring for us for her litter. Another one was old age. Nobody was cruel to the cats. They just died out, and some just disappeared. We never know what happened to them. And that's when weird things started happening a little bit, at least to me. I never really mentioned it to too many people. And one of the things I come to notice when I was little, I was walking down the stairs. and I see like a black and white cat ran right past me. I went to go after because I never seen this cat before, and he just that cat just disappeared. No explanation whatsoever. He just turned the corner and he was gone. I mean, that was it. And at first, I just thought just my imagination went wild. But this happened on 3 different occasions. Sometimes it would be the same cat. Sometimes it would be a different cat. And when you're a kid, you don't really think much of it, because we had plenty of cats, but it just happened so fast. So, you want to, because I'm looking to chase the cat. I like chasing little cats, and they always run around, and I play with them by having, little yarn, and I just walk around, running around. They come chasing right after it. So it was always fun to have that. So I just thought it was one of ours, but when he disappeared, it was like, wow, where'd he go? That was it. I wasn't scared. It just, I was like, I guess it was wrong. If you want to call that a spirit, fine. It's just one of those things that, that I really wasn't scared of. The one thing that did scare me, and it was like when I was older, like when I was in a teen, and it turned to find out that there's a name for it. It's a medical name, but I know that probably some of you guys have done this before. It's when I fell asleep. It's like when I'm getting ready to go to bed. And this happens on occasion, still does to this day, where I'll be awake but I can't move. Where I'm just like paralyzed and I can't move. And I notice a lot of stuff happens when I'm in that stage. One, I can't move, can't even make a noise, can't speak. My whole system is pretty much shut down. And there was one time, I never forget this, because that shook me up. That shook me to the bone. Where I was paralyzed. I was like I was at work. I was in Staten Island living at the time. And what ended up happening was, I decided to rest. I rested myself on the counter until the boss gets back. And I was the only one there because I used to do a lot of cleaning service for Burger King at the time. And what happened was I drifted off. I wasn't fully asleep yet, but that same feeling of being aware, being awake, but you just can't move, that happened again. Only now I was laying on the table. My eyes was open and somebody was standing right in front of me. And what happened was they was poking me. I felt the hand poking me. Didn't say anything. I couldn't even speak to the guy. I could not move. It wasn't until that person walked away and I saw my boss coming in. He was asking me if everything was all right. And I was going to say something and say, yo, and I didn't say anything. I just went back in the room. I went back into the kitchen, checked everything out, went back to the dining area. He looked at me. There was something wrong. I looked in the bathroom. He didn't know what the hell was going on. I just said everything is fine. Don't worry about it. But I'm not going to lie. That day, that was the one time that shook me because I know what I saw. I saw a guy standing right next to me. I didn't see his face. I saw his feet and I saw his pants, and I knew what he was doing. He was putting his hands on. He was touching me. He wasn't being aggressive. He was touching me. I just couldn't move. And then when my boss came in, because he walked away, my boss came in. That's when I looked up and he said, "Hello, how I think it's going." And then I just went on to just make sure everything was secure and everything is nice. Now here's the thing. When doing cleaning service, you have to lock the doors. Now the doors can be locked from the inside and from the outside. So once we turn that key, that door is locked. There's nobody else coming in unless you break the windows or you have a key to the room. So I know I was the only one in there. So there was no way that that person could have got in. I didn't hear the door open or close until my boss came in. So that was the one time, especially when I didn't know why my body went into complete shutdown the way it did until somebody had mentioned to me that is something that happens. There's a name for it. I can't get the name. It's a medical name, but it does happen to people. If you guys know the name of this thing that now they tell me it's common, please let me know. Comment on the comment section, because I really do like to know that name, so I have a better awareness. But this always affected me a little bit. But that was the one time that really scared me. So yeah, I'm also that I can't ever explain. So I never really talk about it again. That's the one of the things. So that's my other experience. Another experience. This actually happened. And it happened in the most weird way. When I was living in an all men's house, it's like a building, but only men was allowed to live there. This was in Staten Island too. It was a person who recently moved in. He stood to himself. He was always quiet and everything else, but he was not well. He went upstairs one day. We haven't seen him, and that was the last time we see him alive, when he went upstairs. He, the landlord, we talked to the landlord. He said, listen, this guy haven't came out of his room yet. You might want to check on him, because he hasn't come out. And it's not like he goes anywhere. We know pretty much when everybody comes in, everybody has their own little pattern. They leave, but sometimes they come back. They don't, we always see people's faces. When we don't see people's faces, that does bring a concern. So in this case, it brought a concern to me and to a lot of tenants. And we called the landlord. We said, look, you need to check up on this guy. And he said, oh, no, everything's all right. But the problem is, it's been 7 days. Something's not right. What happened, after we pretty much knew what the landlord was going to do. He's going to wait till rent comes and pretty much check on him from there. That's what everybody was saying, that he'll probably check on when rent is due. But we didn't want to wait for that. We was very concerned. A lot of people was like worried about coming in. I went upstairs and checked. I volunteered to go upstairs to the last floor and check on him, see if he's at least there. If he's not there, then it was me being paranoid. But if he is there, something is terribly wrong, because he hadn't left that room in days. I went upstairs. The door opened. His front door to his apartment opened. Now I'm thinking he's gonna come out, everything's gonna be fine, everything is gonna be good. Nobody came out. I walked in that room, I see him on the floor. He's not moving. Okay, he's not moving at all. So I immediately called the parent, because I called his name twice, and I called paramedics to get him because I knew something was wrong. I already knew he was gone, but I had to call paramedics. They came up and they basically confirmed he was dead. So yeah, so that really did bug me out. But it was just weird how it happened, because the door just flew open. There was no way that door could have flew open like the way it did, because it flew open not from the because the door, the wind, if the wind was to blow it, it would have blown this way. The door swings the opposite way. It's one of those. Don't ask me why the landlord had the door going that way, but it did. So the only way it would have been open is somebody pushed it open or opened it from the inside. And when that door opened, and I saw that guy there, it just obvious that what has happened. Turns out he died of a hemorrhaging, so he died of a heart attack, from what I understood. But that bugged me out pretty much. Not as much as the other incident that I talked about, but that one really did hit the core a little bit, because the guy was cool, the guy was nice, he was quiet to himself, but like I said, the door swinging open like that, obviously somebody wanted me to find him, and that was that's all I can tell you about that. But these are stuff that I don't have any explanation for. We can make all the excuses we want, but there are just some things that that just cannot be explained, and these are one of the things that I can safely say I cannot explain. But so if that answers your question, pretty much, if I believe in ghosts, I'll say this: I am open-minded that there are other stuff out there that just that we don't have an answer for. Do I believe in the guys on the sheets? No, but in terms of other stuff that I experience, let's just say that there's too much evidence out there that tells me that they don't exist. So I hope I answer your question. Until then, you guys take care.